Hey guys, it's Mario here, and in this video I wanted to share with you one of the biggest lessons that I've learned on my fitness journey. And oftentimes when I do interviews or live events, when I meet up with one of you guys, I get asked the question, what if you could turn back time, if you can go back a couple of years, what would you tell yourself to kind of save yourself some time, maybe make yourself feel better, get better results and things like that? This is one of those things that comes to mind. You see, back in the day when I first started out with my fitness journey, that was late 2009, beginning of 2010. It was a little bit of a different situation than today. I mean, in terms of what information you could find out there. And coming into this, I was kind of skinny fat, more fat than skinny, a very nerdy guy. I mean, I graduated in computing. It was all math, programming, a lot of stuff related to computers. I was a gamer as well. I came from World of Warcraft, Unreal Tournament, Doom, Quake, like all these video games I was playing, and some of them pretty seriously. And when I first started out, I was trying to crack the code. I wanted to find the secret. Similarly to what you're probably watching these videos, you want to learn, right? And I wanted to learn as well. I was thinking with the same mindset coming out of gaming in World of Warcraft. You have your specs, you can choose different types of things, but we already kind of know what would work the best, for certain classes. And if you guys play World of Warcraft watching this, you know how it works, right? There are certain things that if you do that, there are ways you defeat the boss. There are ways you do things that are more optimal than others, right? So coming into fitness and nutrition, I knew that there are things that could work better than other things, right? It's normal. And back 2009, 2010, the big places on the internet where most of the quote-unquote experts or guys who were getting results were gathering at were online forums, the message boards. YouTube and Facebook and these places didn't have as much good information back then. It wasn't so popular. And on the message boards, you would get a lot of different threads, a lot of different members. People were kind of anonymous as well, so they didn't have to really put out information that was with any kind of proof. You could just write up random stuff. It was a lot of bro science because it's a forum. You have a username, you have an avatar, you could put out all sorts of random things and say to people, hey, this is this wheeled curl. I was starting this 2 weeks ago and now my bicep gained like a couple of inches. Nobody could validate the information. And of course there was like a reputation you could upvote and do all these things, but there was a lot of nonsense. It was very confusing at some points. And I remember back in the day when I was learning it first, I was at this Croatian bodybuilding forum, and I think I read the whole forum. I was reading the forum for hours and hours and hours. I think I read the whole thing at some point, and I was just waiting for the new threads to come out. And I would be thinking about this all the time. I would be going to bed at night, I would lie in bed, and it wouldn't let me sleep. I was thinking, I want to try that exercise. I want to adjust my calories. This guy said this supplement might work, or leaving certain foods outside of your diet and re-adding them might have some special benefit, and all these kind of things that you would read on forums. And I would be really, really obsessed with that. There was a lot of mental tricks as well that they were suggesting and different types of things. So I would be really obsessed. And the one thing that was really one of my favorite things to read, and it was the section where people would journal their progress. So there was these different big sections in the forum, and there were progress journals. People would often write, I think even today a lot of people use those, and you would write in your workouts, you would write in what you were doing for your diet, and especially if someone was doing like a 12-week cut or something like that, I would be paying a lot of attention to that. They would do often pictures, and I would find out like which guys were the guys that were looking very similar to what I wanted to look like, the guys who had the most reputation, the most posts, and the most successful guys, and I would try to track their progress. And that brings me to the biggest lesson, was that I was so caught up in the progress of these people. I was really paying so much attention in what they were doing and what was working for them. And I would copy all of that to myself. I would copy every single little bit. If this guy was doing 2 sets of curls, I would be doing 2 sets of curls. If this guy was doing 4 sets, I would be doing 4 sets. If this guy was cutting at 2,500 calories, I would be cutting at 2,500 calories and exact macros that he did. And I would really copy everything. And I would get so confused sometimes because these guys would also contradict each other. And then there's 2 different guys who kind of look the way I want to look, but they were doing totally different things. And it was so confusing. and I would be so caught up in their progress. I would pay so much attention, putting so much energy into what was working for them without ever listening to what my body is responding to. And that's one of the biggest lessons that I wish I knew earlier, because when you start paying so much attention to other people's progress, you start doubting yourself. Because I was really upset, I mean, why am I so different? Why doesn't this work for me? Is there something wrong with me? Why is 2,500 calories not giving me the fat loss as it is for this guy? Why doesn't that diet plan that he posted online, where it's like chicken, broccoli, and rice 5 times a day with different like exact grams, and I'm eating the exact amount, and he's getting leaner and I'm not getting leaner? So what's wrong with me? Something must be wrong, because he's looking great and he's getting all these gains. And similarly with the training plans as well. If some weird exercise quote unquote worked for some random guy, I would be doing that as well. And oftentimes, at least even, I believe this is even a bigger problem today, is that we get caught up in paying too much attention to what someone else is doing without ever listening and stepping back and seeing if that thing actually will work for you, or even trying it out in a form of a self-experiment while sticking to the fundamentals, which I'm going to talk a little bit about here. But find out exactly what might work for you, right? I mean, it's a balance. I was too far in one extreme, where I was always caught up in just copying everything, which I did for the first couple of years. And as a beginner, that of course will give you some results. Any training plan, if you're just starting out, I mean, I have a bunch of free workouts. You can download them in the description below as well if you're just starting out, and they will work. They will give you great results. I mean, they're based on fundamentals. But after a while, you need to start listening to what the hell you're responding to, and there's no other way around that. Even the science, I mean, as much as there's so much great science out there, it's still reporting the average. It's still reporting certain guidelines that you have to be able to adjust around that and use that as kind of a direction. But then afterwards, there's no guidance. I mean, nobody will tell you exactly what you need to do. Maybe one day, in like 40, 50 years from now, we get so much ahead in terms of research, in terms of genetic research and things like that, where someone could just scan your body and tell you, hey, okay, these are the exact things you need to be doing, or some kind of tracker that would measure all the changes in your body, and then it would tell you, hey, okay, add a little bit more sets to your chest, reduce a little bit more sets to the bicep, add a little bit more to the legs. That would be fantastic. And I'm sure one day that would happen. And I'm sure that this question will be answered one day. But today, in this time and age where we're living right now, and I don't think me and you will probably not benefit as much from that future technology. Right now, we would need to figure out exactly what works for us with a simple trial and error kind of approach, because that's what we have right now. Of course, you can kind of shortcut this by getting a great coach who knows what to look for, but that's still, I mean, it's an educated trial and error. At some point you have to be able to do that. And that's, I guess the biggest lesson is that don't doubt yourself so much, right? I mean, pay attention to what could work for you, and use the knowledge that you're gaining from these videos and really try to apply the knowledge for yourself. Like, use the knowledge instead of trying to get more knowledge and trying to copy, because it's easy to keep learning. It's kind of that ego trap. You keep learning, and you just keep learning and learning and learning without ever really listening, okay, is this working for me? I mean, what amount of calories do I need to eat? Because if you have an adaptive metabolism, you might need to go to so low on carbs to get lean that you're close to ketosis, while some other guy might be leaning to 6% body fat on 200 grams of carbs a day. You don't know what's the response until you actually try it out. And often, you'll see in comments on fitness videos, and especially, if you read through comments, which at least on this channel there's a great amount of awesome comments, you will see that people, okay, will this work for me? It's hard to know, right? It's hard to predict. It might work, and you can't know until you try out. And then once you try out, you can make adjustments based on the response. And that's what's really it about. It's about a response and adjustment. So really paying attention a little bit more to how you feel and trusting yourself a little bit more in judgment instead of just copying everything that someone else is doing. I think that's one of the biggest things that I would change, is that I feel like I would get a lot more results, and I would also enjoy the process a little bit more. Because once you're caught up in someone else's progress. You know, this guy's getting abs, he's getting a Ferrari, this guy's like shirtless photo, especially if you open your Instagram right now or your Facebook, if you're following a lot of fitness people. I mean, they're making some great gains, man, and you will beat yourself up really hard if you're just looking at what they're doing and if you're not paying attention to you. And you want to be seeking progress, right? You want to be looking for progress indicators with your journey, whether it's tape measure, whether it's just sticking to the process, whether it's getting a couple of pounds off, whether it's getting half a pound increase on a certain lift. Seek out those types of progress indicators and celebrate them, because your journey is unique. You have a unique genetic markup that is you, right? And it's not someone else. So what works for someone else probably won't work for you, at least not to the extent that it works for that person. So kind of keep that in mind. I just wanted to share this with you guys. I know it's a little bit of raw video and it's all not super structured as usual, but it's still one of the most important things that I just want to get out there to you guys, because I know a lot of you will be on this journey and you will be starting a fat loss journey or a muscle gaining journey or a phase or some things that you want to change in your program, and it is easy to copy, and that is the first sign that it might not be the best option, you know, because it's too easy, right? If it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. So that is one thing that I want to leave you guys with. Hope you enjoyed. Let me know in the comments below how this resonated with you. Aside from that, make sure to hit that subscribe button below to support the channel, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.